Welcome, viewers. I am CJ, your host for Dating and Relationships, or DNR for short, podcast. I am excited to bring you real, authentic conversations about dating and relationships from all aspects of today. We're here sharing issues, questions, and or stories that will hopefully bring to light some answers, light entertainment, and more understanding of today's dating and relationship worlds we all have encountered. My guests on this podcast are volunteers from all walks of life and backgrounds and are eager to share some of their personal experiences to hopefully connect, build a community for growth, and specifically on this topic. Viewers are welcome to share some of their stories or if they relate to a specific episode, but in a very respectful and cordial manner. The hope is to reach as many viewers as possible, hopefully worldwide, to create understanding, communicate and learn from one another, and also to come together. Please enjoy the videos. Welcome, viewers, for another episode of Dating and Relationships. And today we have William. Thank you, William, for being here today.
Thank you. Hello, my name is William, and I'm from Peru. I'm a commercial pilot, and I've been doing that since 2017, so 8 years. And thanks for Carol that I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I'm going to go right into dating and relationship questions. I'm pretty sure you have a lot to offer. And you guys might have already met his current relationship, Bailey, who was here in the episode before. So hopefully you check that out as well. Okay. So, William, what was your idea of love growing up? I'm going to ask you similar questions that I did on Bailey. And how was love or affection shown in your home or family growing up?
Okay, so I grew up in a wealthy family, I would say. A middle class, not too rich, but of course, both of my parents are like always on my side when it comes to trouble. They help me out for sure, and I also have a sister younger that's 2 years younger than me. And I'll say, loving this part, it's pretty interesting. It's hard to explain because not everyone is the same. For example, like my friends, my partner Bailey, she has other type of family than mine. When it comes to mine, we're more like together compared to other. When it's there's problem, we get together, we solve things out.
It's very, you have unity in your family
Yeah, that's correct. So I would say that's part of the love and how I grew up. That my parents always supported me, no matter what.
and affection. They were
Yeah,
open with
yeah.
giving hugs,
They're really
kisses.
my especially my mom. My dad is more chill, but my mom is like, every time when she sees me, like, oh, good morning, son. She kisses me and hugs me.
Yeah.
My dad is more like, he's just like looks at me like, hi, what's up?
So, what is your background? Because I feel like you were born in Peru,
Mhm.
but I feel like you have a different background.
Yeah, that's true. So both of my families are from Taiwan,
Okay.
but since it's because of my grandparents' business, they back in 30 years ago or 40 years ago, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
They started their business in Peru, and that's how my dad and my mom kind of met on. I think it was kind of met over there, and
Mm-hmm.
then that I was born. That's why I was born in Peru. Both of my parents, all my parents, like my family, both my mom and my dad, are actually from Taiwan.
Okay. So you have your you're Taiwanese living in Peru, so
Yeah,
you know
I speak three languages. Yeah, totally. Yes, like
which
it's
is
Chinese, Spanish, and English.
yes.
But my first language is definitely Chinese because all my friends they speak Chinese at home.
Okay.
Then it was funny that since I was born in Peru, Chinese was my first language. Then second was Spanish.
Yeah.
But that was when I was little, like probably like before kindergarten, like probably 5, 4 or 5 around there. I spoke Spanish, but then I left the country because my parents, my dad especially, he wanted to pursue a higher degree,
Mm-hmm.
a master. So went to California, and that's where I did my kindergarten and elementary over there. So and
Oh.
English became my second language. Then my dad had to go back to Taiwan because he found a job over there, and my mom wanted to just reunite with family members. So I stayed at Taiwan from elementary to middle school.
Oh wow.
Then I came back to Peru and had to relearn Spanish.
But see, that's what it takes in order to learn three fluent
Yeah, that's true.
languages.
Yeah.
Because I've spoken to you in Spanish, and
Yeah.
you can even speak Spanish because I'm going to have captions. But you speak very well Spanish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to relearn all this stuff. But definitely took a while.
Well, that's great. You're a commercial pilot. You have three languages, and it seems, based on certain things that was shared, that you have a good ground, like you have a good concept or a good handle on what love and relationships are, or dating and relationships. So we're gonna get more to the bottom line. Did you feel that growing up you witnessed healthy relationships, in your early years, whether in your household, extended family, or in your community?
I'll say in case in fact of family members, I'll say it's pretty healthy because I grew up like I said I was in Peru, then I went to this California, the States, and I grew up with different kind of societies or different kind of cultures as well. Because I met since in the community when I was in California, it's all Indians, so we had to kind of adapt to the cultures and accept them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of different, at the culture shocking fact at the beginning, but later on you get used to it,
Yeah.
and all the stuff. So I'll say, like, as the relationship between families and all the cultures, I'm pretty good with it.
And you've
And
witnessed healthy relationships within those societies.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
they treated me pretty good. I treated them pretty well.
Yeah. So you kind of have to learn to grow up pretty fast, especially moving around so
I
much.
think it's because I like to make friends when I was a kid. Like I don't like to stay at home, and like I just tend to go out more and just meet other people. Kind of like
You're
that.
definitely more Peruvian then, because that's how we are. I mean, Hispanics in general, we just
Yeah,
like to always go out.
yeah, that's true.
Okay, so what values or beliefs about relationships were you taught as a child?
Hmm. Like when it comes to family, or when you mean to like
Relationships
then, oh,
in
in
general, yeah.
general. So I think most of it's my mom that was giving me like advice. For example, I think it was in middle school around that age. I got 12, 13, 12, 13 around that
Mm-hmm.
age. My mom one time just set me down and she told me, son, I think it's the time I should talk to you about relationship in general because that age is definitely you're gonna get a girlfriend, right? At that age, or not a boyfriend. My mom didn't know my sexuality. Of course, she was pretty open to it, but
So she was very understanding from the beginning.
yeah, yeah, she was really understanding. And then one time she came in like told me like, if you have a girlfriend, just let me know, all the stuff, and because it's gonna be your first time, like with it's gonna be different. Like you don't treat it with like your friend, but it's gonna be way different. But I it's like it's just a tip from her. But I never told my mom until when I was actually high school, because at middle school you don't actually know what is a relationship. You just find like,
Mhm.
oh,
Someone
that's a
you
girl. Yeah,
like.
yeah, you like and you thought that's
Oh,
in a
I like
relationship. Yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I like him.
And you don't even know what's a relation at
Yeah.
that age until like later on in high school. You'll say, oh, this is kind of like more like into a relationship facts. Like you
Hmm.
have to communicate with each other.
So what did you feel that values and beliefs came from? Like, what were the values and beliefs that were instilled in you?
Ah, the values and beliefs. I'll say definitely, like I think I have a good background, for example. Like my parents, those are like the values and beliefs they kept supporting me. So I kept like that's what made me believe they had values and many other aspects and stuff.
And it seems like communication was big with your family. So,
Yeah, it's kind of like that because every time like there's some cases or problems, like my mom just kind of sit us down and talk to like us. For example, in high school, I wasn't the best, I'll say. My grades weren't the best, but when I did study, I went to like pretty good. Like I was like top 20 in my school, but normally my grade was bad. So like I even skipped school, but not like the whole day. Like some class I didn't like.
you were a school skipper
Yeah, I mean, I got called once and because of my bad behavior, so my dad had to came to school and talk to the principal because of
of
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So you were a bad boy?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, during high school, I was kind of bad. There was like a phase. But then, like, my dad came, he was really disappointed. I had to talk to the principal, and I kind of got grounded for like a month because of my grades were really bad.
Hmm.
So I think at the same day at night, my parents came, sat down, and talked to me about like, what you did wrong, and at that age, you're like, whatever, like. But after like you realize for a time like they're doing you a favor because like school is important. You learn something that's
Yeah.
yeah, it's not just like you don't want school, you don't want to just skip it. So it's not how that works, but that's how I learned some stuff from my parents.
So you learned that don't skip school,
Yeah, I mean like
that it reflects whatever you do
also
reflects onto your parent.
communications, that's the
And
main, yeah.
communications, like, why are you doing this? We're
Uh-huh.
giving you everything you need. Why are you acting out? So
Yeah.
you feel what I'm gathering from
Uh-huh.
what you said, it feels like you learn not to take for granted
Yeah, that's true.
all the stuff that
Uh-huh.
your parents are trying to help you.
That's correct.
Did you change your behavior after?
Yeah, at the beginning it was hard because like when you're in a teenager, it's like around that age, 17, 18, you're like whatever your parents, everything they say just annoying, right? Like
Yeah.
nothing good
Yeah,
in it.
I'm gonna talk to my kids about that.
But like later on, like you'll just rethink about it, like why they grounded you, kind of like that. And the good thing is, like later, it did help me, like in many, like for example, my flight training and flight communications. The main deal, you're not gonna just push them away because later on, you're like there's a lot of situation you're gonna have to communicate.
Hmm.
So that's what I learned from them.
Hmm. Good, good. I'm just saying, how did he come up? I'm thinking the whole time, how did he become a commercial pilot for 8 years? Because he got grounded. Hello, people. Ground your kids. It's important. They look, right? Okay. So, were emotions talked openly in your households?
I'll say in the beginning, it's not that much because
Hmm.
my mom believed like we're not. I think she has a belief mostly because of my parents. My mom, she has a strong believer that when you're like, there's some topics like really sensitive that you should be over 18 to talk about. That's
Really?
my mom's like
Hmm.
so like there's before like before 18
Hmm.
there's some topic we didn't really discuss, but
Hmm.
after she would like for example, a couple of years, she would like say, when you're a kid, we couldn't talk about this topic because it's kind of more like I don't know, it's graphical or kind of like that. So she didn't want to chase our like minds and stuff. But like now she's been opening up to lots of topics we talked about.
So at least now she is, but you're already grown.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you're 28, right? So you're in your late 20s.
yeah.
But it feels that she also has learned to be more open with
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that's cool.
So you guys now talk about relationships.
Yeah, not only relationship, like for health problems as well, because like I think it was 10 years ago, my grandparents, their health was not good and they got diagnosis. I don't know what it was, but like it was kind of bad and she didn't want to like affect our emotions. I think
Mm-hmm.
that was the reason that she wanted to keep it to herself.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, I think she kind of like talked to like therapy or something, and then they told her to open it up, like it's
Yeah,
fine.
you
So I
gotta
think
talk
that's why
about it.
she's been opening up like a lot of stuff lately.
Yeah, I talk to my kids about everything. I even I even do sex education with my kids because my kids are 15 and 14 and they're not being taught that in school. They're not being taught about relationships. They're not being taught about, you know, boundaries when it comes to relationships, intercourse, and all of that. And I feel that if, as a mom, I am not properly informing my kids, I'm not doing my role as a mom of
Mhm.
informing them coming through me. Hello, they came from me. There's a reason they came from me. I want to make sure they understand to take their choices very seriously because it can change your life, especially about sex education. To agree.
Yeah, but I mean, I grew up in like I learned my section during school in Taiwan. Like in middle school, they
They
started
don't do
teaching
that
it. So
anymore.
I don't know, but in Taiwan they did, but I'm not sure in the States.
In the States, they stopped doing that because I remember they had that when I was in high
Uh,
school. They don't have that anymore.
okay.
They did away with that for some reason. I don't know. I think they need to bring it back, but in a better way
Yeah, that's
than they
correct.
did before. Before the kind of what they showed was
Hmm.
Gen X. No. Okay. So, do you feel that your upbringing had something to do with what shaped you to look for in a relationship or in a partner?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, do you feel that your upbringing helped shape you into what you look for in a partner? Or is that something it feels like it feels like you're learning?
I feel like it's a mix between both. because of course there's always like a gap that there's like a known territory you never know, so there's your learning phase, and
Mm,
the other is you come from your background, like, so
mm-hmm,
I think that's the mix between those two. That's what I come
mm-hmm.
from.
Okay, good. And you feel that that's been helpful so far?
Yeah, I believe that because there's definitely, because each person is different. I believe
Correct.
that. So for me, I'm still in the learning curve, so there's a lot to learn as well.
And it seems like you're open to want to learn more.
Mhm,
And being in a relationship, being in a relationship is hard anyways because
mhm,
there's two different people coming together, but also, becoming the best version of yourself.
mhm.
Would you say that that's something you might be striving for,
Uh,
or have you considered that?
I'm definitely like, I mean, I had thought about it, but I still need to improve because, for example, like with relationship with Bailey, uh, we are doing a long distance relationship, so
Yeah.
it's different from many others.
Mhm.
It's hard, of course,
Mhm.
but we do s- always find a solution for that, like date nights, even on FaceTime.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Also, like we
That's
play
cool.
games
How do
as
you
well.
do that?
No, actually, it was like tough because we're both like new to that and long
Okay.
distance. So at the beginning, we just didn't know. We just FaceTime and talk. But after a while, it gets the same question like, "How's your day?" And then, "How you
It
doing?
gets
What do you do?" Like
monotone.
it's always the same. So then you have to like think something new. And then mostly at the beginning was Bailey because I did not know much because I was more like passive guy. So
Yeah.
if she, and Bailey is more like I won't say aggressive. She's not aggressive, but
The
she's more like
initiator.
initiator. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the correct word.
I'm the same way.
But like at the beach, so she was like find movies and all the stuffs. Then later we kind of like had to talk because she got angry, saying I'm not putting effort. Because I just did not know that, you know.
Yeah, so you're
Like for
still in your learning phase.
yeah, yeah, that's why.
So one thing that I talked about with Bailey when I had her here was about us women.
Hmm.
We usually don't know who we truly are till
Uh,
we hit at least the age of 35 and
uh-huh.
above.
Okay.
At that age, a woman, I feel, this is a theory I have based on countless of information that I've had from other women. At 35, usually around the age of 35, is when women actually understand who they are as a
Mm,
person, and that's who their best version could be. And if they're not their best version, they still have time to make their best version. But is their best version being codependent on themselves, or is that being codependent on meaning independent on themselves or codependent on a relationship? But being being that age for a woman truly can figure herself out. And then I said that for men is usually around 40 to 45
yeah, that's
years of
scary.
age.
Yeah.
And because you're still learning as guys, it's like everything is a lot slower for you
Hmm.
guys to develop. Our minds are made multidimensionally, like we're made to procreate, and so we're supposed to be moms. So therefore, we have to think differently, and our minds develop a lot
Yeah.
faster. So then when men out, don't really know who they are, right? You're
Yeah,
still
that's fair.
learning.
Sometimes I'll say I'm childish. Like when with Bailey, she gets mad at me sometimes because I'm childish.
But in reality, you kind of are because
Yeah,
of your age.
yeah, that's fair.
And even though you've experienced a lot and you've explored a lot, as a man who's, in a serious relationship right now, you're still learning, and you
Hmm.
you admit to
Yeah,
your what you call flaws maybe,
yeah.
or personality traits,
Uh-huh.
right? So again, going back to the question that I asked, do you feel that in the current relationship you're in and the upbringing, it's definitely helping you shape a better version of yourself?
Yeah, I'll definitely think it's improving as well because I learned a lot of stuff that I did not know about, and also to bring a better self, not only for myself but
Hmm.
for my couple, Bailey as well, my
Yeah.
partner.
So if you were to, let me just say this, give advice to your younger self, knowing the stuff that you know now,
Mm-hmm.
when you were like in high school,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of advice would you give yourself?
Oh, I have thought about this since I only had like my degrees besides pilot training. I only have high school,
Hmm.
but I would tell my younger self at least get a like a bachelor degree just in case because like last time, COVID hit and a lot of pilot got
Yeah, they
like
couldn't fly
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
So you would tell your younger self to
at least
stay academically
yes,
focused?
just for like a degree, just for backup,
Hmm.
just in case if something happens, you couldn't fly, and then at least you can get another jobs that you like.
And what about relationships?
Oh, about relationship, I'll tell myself like at least like look up some advice or like for relations such as long distance and all this stuff,
Hmm.
and probably be more mature sometimes, not just
Hmm.
childish. Because
Hmm.
sometimes when it's a serious talk,
Hmm.
I try to be goofy. I don't want to
Yeah.
make the tensions that much, but like,
Yeah.
it's not good.
So one thing that I can relay is like um, Bailey touched on was the fact that you were patient and understanding, and because you were goofy, and
Uh-huh.
that's what attracted her to you,
Uh-huh.
and you were being authentic from the beginning.
Hmm.
So would you say not to be that way now? When it was the first thing that,
No, it's just like it's not always. I'll say like I'll still be the same, but
yeah,
like at some moments, like when she tell me like you can like
yeah,
tell when a person is mad already, with the face expression, but I would just like still poke around,
yeah,
and that's not actually good.
yeah. Okay, you guys, did you hear that? 28-year-old commercial pilot, all right, has a lot of experience traveling around the world. Have probably met quite a few people around the world too, not only in California and Taiwan and Peru, but also, people you interact with in the
Yeah.
planes and whatnot. So it's important to be yourself, but not to poke around when you can tell your other partner is upset. It's like waking up, poking the dragon, and I'm a fire dragon, so you'll get burned with me.
Yeah.
No, but I think all in all, this is why I'm doing this podcast. It's on dating and relationships because there's a lot of folks out there.
Mhm.
Ever since COVID, people have lost a sense of who they are,
Yeah.
or they found a new sense of
Yeah.
who they need to be. And dating has become really difficult
Mhm.
and challenging for a lot of people to make connection with someone,
Mhm.
And sometimes they make a really good connection with that person, and they can't let go of that person, even though that person's not good for them
Yeah.
just because of that connection. So this is why I'm doing this podcast
Mhm.
to inform the viewers that there's different approaches and actual people who are going through the motions. This is their life story. So definitely take notes. And again, this is just use the information to your benefit, but don't get hung up if it's, one thing. Keep searching for more information out there. Keep educating yourself. I'm just one source, and I'm pretty sure there's a plethora of other sources and specialists who can help you with that. So, good point
Mhm.
in that area. Little plug in there
Yeah.
for myself. Okay, William. So, when it comes to your personal growth and understanding, what personal boundaries have you had to learn or unlearn
Ooh.
over time?
Um, I get like very patchy sometimes with in a relationship.
You get
Like yeah,
clingy,
yeah, yeah. I kind of like I cling too much at the beginning, and sometimes it's just like too much, like for because my past
it's like
relationship,
it's suffocating.
yeah, suffocating for my partner. And also I'm a touchy person as well.
You're an affectionate person.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think I learned that not most of the people like that at the beginning, and it kind of like broken a lot of like how do you say like the feelings at the beginning it was just like strong when you started the relationship,
Yeah.
and then later you just get like the same thing over again,
Yeah.
and it
So,
just kind of
yeah.
like get like cold shoulders later on.
How come, this is a male perspective coming in. I'm gonna dabble a little bit more in that.
Hmm.
Okay. Earlier, I discussed love bombing. It's
uh,
something that a lot of people do at the beginning, guy or girl,
yeah.
and then it stops,
Hmm.
right? You get the cold
Yeah, cold
shoulder.
shoulders.
So, what do you do when that happens?
So, well, at the beginning, I just didn't understand. So, as a guy, I didn't have much experience in the relationship. That was back in the days. I would just keep messaging what's wrong, like pushing her, what's wrong, and it gets even worse. So, don't ever do that. And I'll say like the best. What I learned after was just like try to communicate, saying, "Hey, what's wrong?" And if she doesn't want to talk to you, maybe just wait like until she feels ready. Or if not, the worst case scenario, you have to prepare for the worst. Like. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because, trying to understand someone, they can give you signals whether they want it or not,
Uh-huh.
right? But I get what you're getting at. Okay, so have past experiences, which you just talked about, what they've taught you is to communicate and basically give them time and space
Yeah,
to come
that's
to
how
you.
I think that's how I learned my patience. Like before, I was just like pushy, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Now there's a lot more patience to come, just so
Yeah.
you know. Is there anything else that you could say now that you're here and your younger self, besides educating yourself and being more and seeking advice? Do you feel what you think you can bring to the table moving forward? Like, do you feel that you've been exposed, or are you looking to be more exposed into the dating and relationships that you have now?
I'm thinking like there's like a lot to learn still for me personally.
Yeah.
Of course, there's like I feel like there's so much gap still that I still cannot fill it out yet. So yeah, I'll say like I have to like expose more to the relationship and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, as I mentioned, when you're in a relationship and it's a long-term relationship and it's a long distance relationship, a year is nothing.
That's
You
true.
know, 2 years into that relationship is when you really can hone in
Uh-huh.
because you spent enough time
Time.
apart, enough time together
Hmm.
to then decipher what's the
Yeah, for
future of the
sure.
relationship.
Hmm. But
Do you agree?
we definitely had talk like Bailey. For me, I'm more like how do you say like sit back guy. I'm not like
He's a layback.
yeah,
He's laid
lay
back.
back. Yeah, I lay back more, and Bailey is more like oh, like she thinks more like
Let's do
she's
this.
already prepared for like the future and stuff, and she'll talk to me about it. And of course, sometimes she gets mad at me because she thinks that I'm not planning anything. I'm just like sitting, just
You just don't have the
yeah,
ability.
yeah, yeah. Right now, I don't have the ability. That's the problem. And she got it all planned out so far. We had a lot of talk about that.
Good.
Yeah, yeah,
Does that feel overwhelming to someone like you who's very laid back, who doesn't really, you're literally flying through life,
yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
physically and metaphorically, you're coasting through life, flying through life, and then you have someone who's really grounded
Hmm.
and has X, Y, and Z
Yeah.
done, right?
Hmm.
But you're not. Sometimes you feel you're not at the same level.
Hmm.
That's what you're saying with her, who has everything figured out because
Hmm.
she was brought up differently,
Hmm.
and you were brought up with more like, okay,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
think it's also
so.
personality as well.
Mhm.
So, do I feel overwhelmed? I don't say like overwhelm is the correct word for me
What
because
is it?
like I'll say I don't think there's a way. It's just like I'm okay with that and I don't get overwhelmed, but like I do talk about like, oh, what your plan, like, what's her plans and what's like my plan because at the beginning I didn't know like
What plans
what's
are?
what's plan are, and it gets to like a confused point of like she gets mad and all this stuff. But later on, like lately, after like I think it was like a couple months ago, I start like figuring out some plans for myself and for her as well.
How did that feel like?
It just like feels like you're in the relationship, like you're a step into it. It's just not like that far apart before you feel like she's in over all the way over there and you're just like in
So
a
now you
different
feel you
corner. You're
closed
like
the gap.
closer, yeah. Like I'm
Okay.
closer to her. That's what I feel
You're
like.
closer to her. You're closing that gap
Yeah.
between you. You're growing up more.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's becoming that man that it's gonna be like till 40, but
Still a long way.
you're a good sport. Okay. So in you and Bailey met online, right?
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
can you talk about your experiences with online dating prior to you meeting Bailey and whatever? But like, what was your experience and what was your understanding of it?
Okay, so I started using dating app was I think was after high school when I got broken up by
Hmm.
my ex-girlfriend that we dated. I don't think it's much, but like 6 months.
Yeah.
So for but
Okay.
like it's when you're in high school, like you got your like heart broken. And my friends told me that Tinder was really popular that days. So my friend told me to download like just to forget about her. So and then I found some matches, but that was in Peru.
Hmm.
And my it's really different when you compare like the dating app from South America, like Peru,
One country to
to another
another.
like and also I also tried it in US. It's like their taste is really different because in Peru I get a lot of matches, but they're really into K-pop. So my matches was like in a good
They
way.
thought you were BTS or
Yeah, yeah,
something.
they thought I'm Korean, but they like Asians. That's the thing. So it was kind of different because then I got into a date, like a relationship with a girl that was in Tinder that was
Hmm.
from Peru, and she was really into BTS, K-pop stuff.
Yeah, so she thought you were one of them because he's pretty tall. He's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
tall.
So I think she likes Asians. That's the thing. And then it was kind of strange, but it was turned out to be. I learned some stuff as well. Like it was toxic relationship because she was demanding, controlling, and
Um,
that's how. And we got like, almost 2 years together.
she was Peruvian.
She was Peruvian,
Yeah, there you go.
but not
The
just that.
Latinas.
So since then, I learned some stuff like not for not to date K-popers, but no offense, of course. Not all of them are like that, but I know. Just
So some people are have a fascination, and
mhm,
then
yeah,
they get drawn
they're like
to a
dreaming,
specific
yeah.
they're to a specific person, and then when they realize that they're not
Oh,
a celebrity or something,
yeah.
that's when things kind of
Kind
go
of went
downhill.
down, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when it's the state, it was funny. And in the state, I tried. I think I used Hinge. I used what's the other one, Bumble.
Yeah.
And then I got no matches when I was doing my flight training in Florida. It was kind of different. Like I got shocked because my other friends are like they got lots of match, but they're not Asians, but they're like different. So it's different because when I was really popular in Peru, but when I went to the
When you
States,
came
yeah,
here.
it was kind of different. Then it was last year. I went to Boston to visit my friend after like I finished all the flight training and all the stuff. It was I got the date. It was March 6, 2024. I was swiping in Hinge, and then I got a match with Bailey. That's how our conversation started.
Yeah.
And then I asked her out for bowling in Boston
Yeah.
at the March 9, and that's
Yeah.
how we started talking.
Oh wow, he has the dates and everything. Bailey was right that he got to everything packed out.
It
Okay, so for you, online dating, you realize that in one country you're popular, you go to another country, you're
was
not so
different. Yeah,
popular.
it's really
You're
different.
like, oh my goodness. And then you probably, if you were still single, for example, and you were in Taiwan, you probably would
Yeah,
have
if I
gotten.
tried, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go, folks. It's different in every country, obviously.
Hmm.
So, what do you feel that because you were led to online dating after high school,
Hmm.
you were exposed to it a lot younger than most of us Gen Xers were? So what do you feel about online dating? What what is your feedback?
The beginning was weird because like I grew up like the technology is advancing real quick, of course, and it was like 18 around that age I started using online dating apps. It was weird because it's just like you're talking to someone you never know. Like
Hmm.
it can be a catfish, and I know it's
Yeah,
just like a picture you're talking to, and then you're chatting, and the next thing you're like, hey, do you want to hang out?
yeah.
So it was kind of overwhelming at the beginning because you get
Hmm.
so many different matches,
Hmm.
and you have to talk to each one. It's kind of like you're selecting who you want. It's kind of weird at the beginning, but later on, you're just like, okay, you just think of them as a friend. You don't have to like
Right.
date them, right? You can just
Get
start
to
it as a
know
friend.
them.
It maybe you have something in common. You don't have to date. You get to know other people as well.
So I'm going to mention something. William, thank you for sharing that because a lot of my friends who are my age, who are single and dating and doing online dating, one of the main complaints that they have is men are broken. There's too many broken men, or they're not personable enough, or they don't stick to their word because it's easy to disassociate online with so many options. And so a lot of women specifically I find it very challenging to do the online dating to the point that they no longer are interested. So for those of you who are trying to create any kind of online type of dating, you got to change the method. I have a couple of methods. I'm not going to talk about it. However, just based on data and based on research that I've done, there is a different type of dating that is necessary for folks who are 35 and old,
Oh.
or at least 38 and older, because anyone younger would agree with you
Hmm.
that, okay, it's nothing, you get adjusted, but it becomes a norm.
Yeah.
It's not a norm for us.
Hmm.
For us, it's tacky.
Hmm.
It's like, ugh. And like, I think Bailey put it very gracefully. She says, I get the leftovers. And I think at some point we all feel the same way. We all feel the same way. And it's funny because a lot of the times I've done the online dating, I always hit with guys who are from New York, New Jersey. Florida, Delaware, which are miles away from where I'm located, like 3 or 4 hours. Even Canada. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. Long distance. It's probably my card.
Mm.
I'm not fighting it anymore.
It's also with time and like it's not you like every time you rush into something, you won't get the result you want. It's like me, I kind of figured that out because before I was desperate, like I wanted to like date someone, but it didn't actually get what I wanted in return. So then the least when you expect it, you'll find the person.
When you least expected.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what for me, a
that's
personal
what it
experience.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's how I met Betty.
because you stay true to yourself,
Yeah.
and that's what attracted
Um,
her to you and you to her. I'm
yeah.
assuming, but
I
we'll
was
get into
lucky.
that.
I'll say I was lucky.
That's so sweet. Okay, so you already talked about some of your past experiences. The other question I had for you, what were the biggest surprises or lesson of using, even though you kind of touch base on it, of using online dating,
Hmm.
that you least expect to meet someone that you feel lucky with?
Hmm.
Is that was a surprise?
Yeah, that was definitely a surprise because I was not expecting that it would went that far to today. I
Hmm.
just thought like maybe it was gonna be like I don't know, just for like one time date. That's
Like a
it.
short
Yeah,
term
short
thing?
term thing, and then it
Mm.
turned out to today's, and then we're really strong together.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that was
because it takes two, and if you feel that connection,
yeah.
wow, look at that, guys! You guys are witnessing a brand new relationship because it's a year plus, just a little over a year,
Mhm.
and they met online, and they're both professionals. So you see, I want to make sure you guys get this story. Okay, so did you notice any patterns in the types of people that you matched with or were drawn to?
Patterns. Uh, I think I'll say for matching patterns will be like profile, I guess, like bios, what's it attracted me, like, like sometimes it's not just like something simple or sure, like, I don't know about like in women's aspect when they look for men's because I only swipe for women's. They have like goofy profile pics or nothing serious. Like that clubbing is not the thing that I'm looking for. Like when you see girls just post like also like you see a lot of the bios says follow me on Instagram, kind of like the bot thing that I
Yeah.
don't like. But like in terms of Bailey, she did write something that was really cute. I can't remember which was it. She also had a picture with the dog, Aslan,
Mhm.
Liam Berger, what I found really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think that bio was the coolest. That's the reason I swiped.
For me, for a woman's point of view who's used online dating, guys, wear a shirt. One. Two, you can show half a shirt. Two, we don't care how big of a fish you caught, whether it's little or what, we don't care about, unless the woman loves fishing and it's a sport for them too, we don't care, you know. And those pictures at the gym, you working out and you flexing, please, everyone's over that. Unless you're trying to attract a very young crowd
Hmm.
of like, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 year olds, maybe that might work for them. But if you're trying to attract a long term relationship, pictures matter. Show your authentic self. But if your authentic self is fishing and gym pictures, great. It just will get swiped to the
Hmm.
left. Is it the left? Yes.
Yeah,
The no.
the left.
And then another aspect is profile. We do read the profile.
Yeah.
We can tell a lot how much time and effort a person put into describing who they are.
Hmm.
But whenever I see, just ask me anything,
Yeah.
that person's lazy,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Then for girls, don't put like give me a good pickup lines. Oh, those aren't
Good, good one too.
good.
What else? What else?
I don't know. I cannot. I haven't been in like dating for
It's
a
been a
year
while.
myself, so I don't know much.
But in general, we do look at profiles, what you do put in there, what kind of effort you put. And if you put follow me on Instagram or TikTok or something, guess what? It's going to get swiped to the left. So, yeah, just be more your authentic self, show your true self, and don't show your egotistical self. It's
Hmm.
not attractive at all. That's just my advice. But it's someone else, if you disagree, that's fine. We can agree to disagree. There's no big deal about that. Okay, respectfully. Okay, so were there any specific red flags that you learned on the spot through your online dating? journey.
Yeah, like for example, I mentioned follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I don't
Hmm.
use the app that much, or like normally in younger age, like 18 up to more maybe 20, like the college years, I'll say they usually do like clubbing, like you already know they're into clubbing. So
Hmm.
I was at my mid 20s, so I'm not like that into that much of that.
Hmm.
Also, I'm more introvert compared to Bailey. She's more
Hmm.
outgoing. So I like to game. So it's like I'm not really a club person, but when I do go,
You
it's
when you
okay.
mean game, you mean like video
Yeah,
games?
video games. I'm like into video games. There's that.
No.
But it depends on the person. So yeah.
That's true. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
And how did you you already mentioned that you met Bailey in your current relationship online dating,
Mhm,
and she put something cute and that
mhm.
attracted you to her personality. So how does this relationship compare to your previous one that you've been in? And again, every relationship is different, not to compare, but in your mind, you've been do you feel that it's more of a real relationship than you've had in the past?
Okay, okay. So there's a fun story. Yeah. So we
Yes.
got matched, like compared to others, like others would just ask you like what I like my previous like ex, they were like online. So they're like, just normal conversations, like how you're doing, what you're doing, you work, all this stuff. But with Bailey, it was funny because we matched, it was during at nighttime, and then we're talking, and then out of nowhere, she said, I have to go to the basement. There's a spider or insect downstairs. I have to kill it. And then and I asked, and then I was like 10 minutes later, she said she's back. And then her reason after I asked her is like she didn't want me to be upset that she left me on red. So I thought that was funny. Also, the second thing was like that caught my attention was it was doing for the U.S. You guys, it's tax season
Yeah.
when you do tax. It was
Yeah.
so she told me like when I was like, what are you up to? And she's like, oh, I'm doing this whole tax thing. She explained to me the whole detail about it, and like who it was like my first impression was like nobody on a first online dating would just explain the tax
Everything.
thing for someone you don't know. So that kind of attracted me. It's like, wow, she seems interested. Yeah,
She's
to
willing to
explain.
teach.
Yeah, she's willing to explain
Yeah, I'm
what she's
not
doing.
willing to teach.
Yeah, yeah.
We
So that
talked
that
about that
kind of like
already.
attracted me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense because she took the time to go into detail and tell
Yeah,
you, and you were like, "Well, this
yeah,
girl got a good head
yeah, yeah.
in her shoulders,
Uh-huh.
right?" Is that what happened?
Yeah, it's kind of like she is different from others. That's what in my
Hmm.
mind. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in what ways do you feel supported or seen in your current relationship?
Support in many ways. Like since we're long distance, it's hard to get physical like support.
Hmm.
But like in video calls, like normally when we have a bad day, in my case, when I have a bad day, she would come to me and says it's gonna be fine, and you get planned out. Some like for me, I get stressed out for like my stuff. Like when it's even though it's a month ahead, I have my schedules and I haven't done it yet. And it's important, like for example, meeting or exams or stuff and I haven't I didn't even get prepared yet, but it's still 1 month to get prepared for it. And I'll get stressed out, and she'll tell me it's everything's gonna be okay. Just take your time, step by step. So she'll talk to me about it and all this stuff. So I feel like that's how I get support from her.
Hmm. Good. Okay. So she helps you plan where the areas that you don't feel planned.
Ah, she does not plan.
You got a little friend
Yeah,
there. It's insect season. Ants are coming in my house. I gotta spread that
yeah.
thing.
I don't say she helped me. She's just comfort me, kind of saying like it's gonna be all right. But of course, I plan it by myself. But she's
Hmm.
gonna say like just take your step by step. Don't rush it. That's why you're stressed. For example, last month before I came, I had my exam lined up,
Hmm.
and then I was so stressed, even though I got time to prepare. And I called her and it's like so stressful. I was stressed out and I couldn't sleep with all
Hmm.
the stress. And then she was like telling me it's gonna be fine. And then I got my first exam done. It was good. Second one lined up was good. And then my last exam one turned out to be good. So like just because of her, she's telling me to calm down. It's gonna be great. It's kind of like verbal.
Yeah, so it's good to have a partner that when you least expect it gives you that
Yeah.
especially someone
Encourage.
like her who's,
Uh-huh.
she has her PhD, so she's
Yeah.
been there and done
Yeah.
it,
Of
and she's
course.
very
Uh-huh.
academically inclined. So she has your back when it came
Hmm.
to getting you ready for exams and all that. balance out, compromise each other,
Yeah.
complement each other.
Mm.
Okay, and what are some shared values and goals that help anchor the relationship?
Short, you mean short terms or like,
No, with the current
oh,
relationship.
the currently like, what's, sorry, can you repeat the
Yeah,
question?
sure, sure. Shared values and goals
Okay.
that helps anchor the relationship.
Okay, so like I'll say like that maybe date night, like a week, we would plan for date night, a specific dates, and then for example, normally it doesn't have to be weekends because like it's gonna be too obvious. Sometimes we plan it for like when I know it's an important day for her, like for example, she's having her treatment and all this stuff, and it it's gonna be a hard day for her. So I'll ask her, is it okay if you want to do like a date night at that specific date so you'll feel better at night, even though we don't have to do anything particular, like because she kind of bought like no, I think she did bought a PC just to play video games with me, like online, so we
Oh,
can play some split games and all this
that's
stuff.
nice. So
Yeah,
you guys are literally
yeah,
sharing each
yeah.
other.
It's
Oh,
so before that we
you
did
guys are creative.
yeah, before that we just did movie nights and sometimes played like some games like the phone games you can connect online and play
Hmm.
that and ask
So
them.
it's so you're doing something together.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's nice. Mhm.
I gotta keep mental notes of
Oh,
those things.
also
But
there's
I
an
don't play games.
oh yeah, but there's that also there's for an app. I mean, of course it's
Don't
called.
be advertising
I'm not.
anything
I'm
with
not. Okay, good.
without. I don't have sponsorship.
Oh,
Don't
it's not
mention the
okay.
name,
Okay,
but
okay. Well, no, I'm not gonna mention. There's like you can look it up online. There's a lot of apps that it's for partners, like
for,
couples.
for long
Long,
distance.
long distance. It's
There
for
you
a cell
go.
phone. You can use that. It has question and answer. You can answer together and all this
Yeah.
stuff.
Now, if you guys want to know sponsors, you're more than welcome to sponsor me if
Yeah.
you want to. I'm not exposing. Well, that's great tips. So basically, make it a point to once a week
Hmm.
have date night, whether it's long distance, whether it's in person. It's important to make time for each other.
Hmm.
That's what you've learned is a shared values and goals is what makes the relationship go, no matter the
Hmm.
distance. I like that. Okay. So we're almost, closing down. Do you think in your past relationships were necessary for you to grow into the partner you are today?
I'll say definitely because there's a bunch of red flags you'll learn from your past relationships that if I'll say thanks to them, if it's not because of them, I won't be learning a lot of red flags or what is considered toxic relationships
Mm-hmm.
and all the stuff and what is for myself to be improved at because I'm first I'm not perfect
Mm-hmm.
and I also have a lot to learn. But because of my past relationship, I learned a lot myself. Like for example, I'm patient, so that's what I learned from my past
You're laid
relationship.
back,
Yeah,
and you're not the
yeah,
initiator. And I can go on and on because I'm just learning all about this
yeah,
because I just recently got to meet you.
yeah.
I've
That's
known
true.
her a few
Longer,
months
yeah.
months than you have, but
Hmm.
I can see already how you guys balance each other out,
Hmm.
not just in general, but also in having this session with you guys.
Hmm.
It's amazing. So, young individuals in your mid 20s and higher looking for long term relationships, please adhere to these tips and advice that both Bailey and William are sharing in the last session and in this session. So make sure, and you can also put in tips for other folks of things that you feel your relationship has happened or worked or gotten stronger over a year, especially if you've been in a relationship for over a year. And if it's long distance, go ahead and please put in the comments anything that anyone else can share. That'd be amazing. Again, let's make sure we keep everything respectfully clean too as well. Want to make sure we're sharing and giving it out to as many people as possible. So my next question is what has been the most healing and transformative moment in your current relationship
Hmm.
or in your relationship journey?
Most healing else with I'll say with Bailey. There's I think there's many of examples,
Hmm.
and one of them is when it was actually like I don't know if she talks about in the current video about like her relation with her family.
Yeah, but that was her
Yep. Yeah.
section.
So okay.
What has been your
Yeah.
experience?
So it's kind of like which kind of healing for me was like she started opening up towards me about herself. Like
Hmm.
I'm not gonna say anything about because that's her topic,
Right.
and that's she opened up to me like she normally does not. That's what kind of like start knowing that the trust of her was going through,
Higher,
yeah,
deeper.
higher and stuff. And also like for me, I'm more like an open at the beginning, so I didn't like hide much stuff, or I don't say hide is the word, but just like I was more open.
Do you feel that personally for you, what you felt has healed you from past experiences then?
Yes, I'll say like because like everybody has been I'm not sure like everybody, but like I'll say most of the people has been through a hard relationship in the past. Then when you met the right person, you'll feel like, oh, it's gonna be probably the same way. Like for example, like you got mistreated in the past. When someone got angry, she'll just like give you the cold shoulder until you apologize or something, even though you did nothing wrong. And my relationship was I gosh, I don't say it was like something happened. It was definitely a miscommunication. Then she opened, like we both opened up and started having a communication. I was like, whoa, this is different from past. It's just not
Mm-hmm.
one sided. So it
Mm.
kind of like a little bit kind of heals me from like what I was fear of.
Right. So instead of making you
Feels
apprehensive, you feel
like
that
real
you can
relaxed.
open and talk about your feelings with
Uh-huh.
each other. So that's the healing piece of it,
Yeah.
that you guys are learning to open up to one another, to
Hmm.
trust one another,
Hmm.
and rely on one another, because
Hmm.
that's hard to do
Yeah.
in general. Okay. He did have nothing else to say about.
Yeah. I have nothing else.
Okay. And what? Okay. If you were to give advice, so this is where you give advice to folks, someone just starting out on dating, online dating, what kind of advice would you give to folks? Maybe someone similar to you. So this is your floor. This is your time to talk to the viewers. What advice?
Okay, I'll say like there's many, but like for example, first I'll say like if at the beginning, just don't rush into a relationship. For me personally, I give myself a 2 months rule to start actually asking her out because that's how you get to know the person way better. And that's my first advice. And secondly, if you find some red flags at the beginning, you can try to talk to your partner, not just push them off saying, oh, it's not going to work because this and that. That's why communication comes to the key, and I'll say these are like two key points or the main points that are important.
I appreciate that because earlier in other uh, sessions, um, when we see red flags, because we've been experienced, a lot of Gen X folks have been married, have had long-term relationships, 10 plus 20 years relationships. They've gone through all the amusement parks, all the roller coasters, all the love, hate, and everything, and all the fights that you can
Hmm.
imagine. So for us more experienced folks, when we see a red flag, you're right, we tend to push them away. We don't want to talk to them because we already can predict
Hmm.
the kind of patterns that they may have.
Hmm.
They may trigger us in a negative way. But I like that you mentioned, if you see a red flag, don't just push them, just talk to them about
Hmm.
it. And if you still see a red flag after you talk to them about it, then, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so one last question. What do you hope to continue learning about love, partnership, and yourself in the future?
I'll say like for myself, I'll definitely need to be more initiative in my relationship with Bailey because most of the time it's her planning a lot and it's she gets overwhelmed and stressed because I don't do much. But that's what I have to improve on myself, and I'll probably say that's the main key.
And that's true. And I appreciate you saying that. And don't take offense to this, but most men don't take initiative to.
Mhm.
Very few men out there actually do. And I always have this thing that's called details, details, details,
Hmm.
right? It's
Yeah,
important to be very detailed
yeah,
like
that is correct.
that. Make sure you plan ahead. Do your research, just like you said earlier. Give yourself advice if you're younger, is read more about
Mhm.
relationships, get to know that. And with that said, I guess I'll give you a bit of advice. Do research on
Mhm.
dating yourself. Surprise her every now and
Mhm.
then. Have a great date plan for us. I got
Yeah,
all the details,
yeah,
but
yeah, that's correct.
women love that. So, again, William, thank you so much for sharing your story with
Mhm.
us and the viewers. And again, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And William, thanks again for being here.
Thank you, Carol.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.